Okay, I first want to apologize if you hear my dogs because they are being rowdy. It's first thing in the morning. And so once I let them out to potty, they always kind of go nuts for a little bit. But anyway, I told you guys I would do what's been going on, where have I been video. So as I said in my haul videos, I've been sick pretty much consistently since October. I've had a cold. I've had the flu in there, just generally feeling like crap. But then just some health issues with my boyfriend, my mom, and my grandma. My boyfriend's is the most recent and it's the shortest, so I'll start with it. Whenever he's gone to the bathroom, he's had a lot of blood, so he had to go to the doctor, and his liver function came back bad, and then they tested and he's got gluten in his blood, so they're saying he's going to need to eat a gluten-free diet. He's still going to have to go in and have a colonoscopy, but the thing is my boyfriend is I'll call him a carbaholic. That's pretty much all he eats is carbs, and I know that there are some carbs you can have on a gluten-free diet, but trying to find things that he can eat is not looking promising. So we're dealing with that. It's actually gotten better. He just hasn't really started a gluten-free diet yet, but the bleeding has gotten better. But it comes and goes. We've been together over 4 years, and it's been going on, on and off, but not to the severity that it happened this time. So we finally got him to a doctor and had some tests run, so hopefully that'll be taken care of. And then my mom, both my parents go into atrial fib, and if you don't know what that is, basically it's an irregular heartbeat. Extra beats, her blood pressure will drop really low, but my mom can feel it, my dad cannot feel it. So of course I'm paranoid, since both my parents have it, that I'll get it. But she has had 2 heart ablations, which is basically where they go in and they burn around the artery in the heart to help regulate the heartbeat. She was scheduled to have her 3rd one in January. However, she got really sick and had severe abdominal pain, so she was admitted to the hospital for 5 days, where they ran a battery of tests. She had a colonoscopy. They thought it was pancreatitis. It wasn't that. They checked her gallbladder. And while she was there, the only thing they gave her was some pain medicine, no antibiotics, no nothing. And she was released after 5 days, and then about 3 or 4 days later, she went to her family doctor, who was reviewing her tests, and said that the only thing that was wrong was her urinalysis, but since they had given her antibiotics, she would be fine. And like I just said, they didn't give her any antibiotics. My mom was actually uroseptic, so she was septic. Basically, her urine was septic, and she could have actually died from that because they didn't give her any antibiotics. So she's on antibiotics, but while she was there, the cardiologist on call changed her medicine because her, I think her heart rate or her blood pressure was really low. I can't remember what she told me, because sometimes it's really low and sometimes it's really high. She has high blood pressure, but when she goes into these bouts of atrial fib, which now they're calling it atrial flutter because it's not quite as severe since she's had the ablations, but regardless, when she goes into those, her blood pressure is down or high, or she can't even feel her pulse sometimes because it's so low. So she's out of the hospital, she's doing better, but the medicine that the cardiologist put her on is making her dizzy, so we're still dealing with that. She rescheduled her heart ablation for the beginning of March, and that's just torture when she has that done. Basically, the way that they do it, they go in through her groin, and they run a wire up, and then they do the burning. I guess it's laparoscopically. However, the artery that they go in through in the groin, if you break the seal, you could actually bleed out. So that involves laying completely flat on your back for about 18 hours straight, which is just absolute torture for her. It would be for anyone, but especially for her. So she has that done, like I said, March 6th, I think. So I'll stay up at the hospital with her. I did the first time I stayed at the hotel, and she said next time somebody's staying with me. So she's on the mend, hopefully, from her hospital stay, and then we'll do the ablation, and hopefully this will be the last one. And then the major issue that I've been dealing with, my grandmother is 89 years old. This is my mom's mom. My grandfather died in 1995, but those grandparents have done everything for me. All of my life. They were the ones that babysat me, because my other grandma would charge my mom to babysit me, and my brother. When I was in grade school, these grandparents, we were allowed to go home for lunch, because we had lunch and then recess. So you were allowed to go home for lunch, and every single day, except for Tuesdays, because my grandma cleaned my aunt's house, every single day they would pick me up, and I would get a home-cooked meal instead of eating cafeteria food. And then on Tuesdays, my grandfather would always bring me something, Hardee's, whatever. So anyway, my grandma's 89 years old, and I don't know how long exactly it's been going on, but she's showing signs of dementia. At first we thought it might be Alzheimer's, but it's not progressing like Alzheimer's would. She knows me. She knows everything about me. She knows my name. She knows where I work. She knows what I do. She fixes all my clothes. She's the one that I've mentioned in my videos will, you know, take things in. She's completely self-reliant. She lives at home by herself with her cats. She feeds them. She knows when her doctor's appointments are. She knows when the trash comes. She knows everything. The problem is for some reason, she doesn't know my mom in person. On the phone, she knows my mom. But in person, she thinks that she is Betty. Now, Betty is my grandmother's cousin, who would also be around 90. My mom is 62. So, I mean, and I've seen pictures of Betty. They don't look anything alike. So my mom, I don't live at home. I don't live in the same town. My mom had told me about this, that she swears up and down that she's Betty, and my mom had tried correcting her for a while, which, you know, I'm not really familiar with dementia. We've never dealt with this in my family before. But then I started reading, and it's like, you know, you can't correct them, that kind of thing. So, she had told me about it, but I had never seen it. And then on Christmas Day, my boyfriend and I went to Vincennes, and my grandmother's not capable of cooking everything on her own. She did when my brother was home, but so we went to eat Chinese. As soon as she saw me, "Hi Jamie, how are you? Good to see you," hugged me, kissed me. Saw my boyfriend, "Hi Chris, long time no see." So she knew us. So we're eating, and of course I'm calling my mom Mom, because she's my mom. And everything seems fine. And then we went to her house to do Christmas. And my mom had signed her up. A local organization was giving out these baskets to elderly people. And basically what it was just a clothes basket, and then it had a bunch of bath towels, washcloths, hand towels, dishcloths, paper towels, deodorant, shampoo, body wash, candle, things like that. They just gave it to her. So she had left it together so that I could see it. And then while we were looking at it, she said, "Jan, come in here and look at it," which is my mom. So I thought, oh great, she actually knows my mom today. That all changed within about 10 minutes of that. I was passing out the gifts, and she said, "I wonder when Jan and Doug are going to get here," which are my parents. And of course they're sitting there. And she got on the phone and called my mom's cell phone, but my mom didn't have her cell phone on her, but called my mom, who was sitting in the living room. And then my dad had a stroke in 2006. And since then, he's been meaner than a snake. He has the shortest fuse of anyone I've ever met. He yells all the time about anything and everything. And his biggest thing is he likes to pick on my grandma, which really, really pisses me off. Because my grandma can't help what she's going through. And then he is really shitty towards my mom. And it really pisses me off. Like, my mom is a better woman than I am because I would be out the fucking door. So, but anyway, he's like, Jan, your daughter is sitting right there. You don't even know your own daughter? And got real hateful with her. And she's like, I had a Jan before she came around because she thinks Betty is using the name Jan. Well, by them yelling at each other, it upset my mom. And she said, I just won't come back if you don't know me, blah, blah. So they stormed out. So my boyfriend and I were left there. And I calmed my grandma down and I said, do you think I would lie to you? And she said, no. And I said, that is Jan. That's your Jan. That's my mother. And she said, no, it's not. Now, my boyfriend majored in psychology. So he told me to go get a picture of my mom, so I knew where one was, and he started talking to my grandmother and, you know, getting her calmed down because she was just extremely upset. So I went and got a picture that they had taken at church of my mom and my grandma, and I gave it to him so he would have it, and he was talking to her, and he said, now, you know, when was the last time you saw your Jan? And she said, a few days earlier. And she, you know, he said, do you have a picture of your Jan? Well, she walked in and got a picture of my Aunt Mabel, which is her sister, and brought it in. And then Chris said, now, who is this? And she's like, that's my sister Mabel. So once she got it, she knew that it wasn't my mom, but picking it up, she thought it was my mom, I guess, or she got confused. So Chris pulled out the picture of my mom and my grandma, and she goes, yeah, that's my Jan. Now, this picture was taken 3 months ago, 3 months prior, and she could tell exactly what happened. They wanted their picture taken together because, as I said, my grandfather is deceased. My dad doesn't go to church, so they had their picture taken together. And my mom looks identical. I mean, she hasn't changed her hair. My mom doesn't wear makeup. Nothing has changed about my mother's appearance since this picture was taken. But for some reason, in the picture, she knows her, but in life, she doesn't. So I don't know where the disconnect is. But she was just very sporadic. And then she started talking about grandparents that were my mom's grandparents, not my grandparents. So she was getting really confused. But again, she normally knows me. And then on the phone, she knows my mom. She said, you know, because she called my mom afterwards and she said, you know, you didn't come to Christmas. What happened? My mom just, you know, she just has to play along and said, you know, I couldn't make it. So I don't know what happened. Probably about a year or so ago, my grandma was having dizzy spells. So we're wondering if maybe she didn't have some mini strokes back then. And she's been to the doctor, and as I said, she's 89 years old. And for someone who's 89 years old, she's healthy as a horse. Her white blood cell count is low, but it has been low for over 30 years. So it's not something that has suddenly popped up that could possibly be affecting her. But I don't understand it. Like, and then there are times, like, the thing about it is, it seems like sometimes she does know my mom because she's never said to my mom, why don't you ever come see me anymore? But she gets very upset about this Betty person taking her out to eat and talking about my brother and I. So, I don't know. And then when my brother was home he lives in New Orleans. So he's a fireman. He always comes home after Christmas. So the Sunday after Christmas, the Sunday after Christmas, he was over there, or no, the Saturday, because they were getting noodles ready. And according to her, she didn't even have a daughter. So I don't know who she even thought my brother was at that point. It seemed like she knew that he was her grandchild, but if she didn't have a daughter, how could that be? Now, she did have problems coming up with his name, but she knew that he lived in New Orleans and he was a fireman and his girlfriend's name was Anne, and he knew everything about him, just had problems getting the name. But then, on Sunday when we went to eat, my mom was over there the whole time, and she didn't seem upset with the fact that she was there, because sometimes she gets upset if she thinks that she's Betty, so we didn't know who she thought she was. But she did call my mom again to find out when they were going to come, and of course my mom just ignored the phone because she's already there, but my grandma's mine, she's not. And then she said, I wonder if Mabel and Virgil are coming, which is her sister and my uncle, but they're both deceased. And so, you know, I said, I don't know, but my brother is kind of a smart ass, and he's like, they're dead. I mean, he's just... So anyway, we had a nice meal, and then we went to open gifts with my brother, and my grandma started crying because she didn't buy anything because she has no money. I don't care if she buys me anything. I mean, my God, she fixes my clothes for free, you know, but she started crying, and so I had to comfort her on that. And basically, she has no money. We give her money, but she got roped in with Publishers Clearinghouse, and they were taking money out of her account and scamming her, and so she kept getting in the negative. So finally, my parents took over her bank account, and they pay her bills and, you know, buy her groceries and, you know, anything she needs. But now all of a sudden she thinks that Betty is the one that's controlling her money. And all my mom could say on the phone was, you know, I think Betty's a very honest person, and I don't think that she would do anything to hurt you, and I'm keeping an eye on it. And my grandma seemed okay with that. So just, you know, it's just, like I said, physically this grandmother is perfect, and mentally she's faltering, whereas my dad's mom, the one that... And I always say this, and I can't wrap my head around it. She's my grandmother, but she would charge my mother to babysit us growing up. She's always been kind of self-centered. She's gone to the senior citizens for years, and she would rather do that than take me to lunch or spend time with me. So, but anyway, she's 90. She'll be 91 in March. She physically is faltering, but mentally seems pretty with it. So it's just, you know, getting old sucks, and watching somebody go through it sucks. So anyway, sorry. So anyway, that's where I've been for the last few months. I've just kind of been dealing with that, and then I was working pretty steadily at the jewelry store. I still work there, but I only work like a day or two a month just to keep me on the payroll, so I don't have to reapply, plus my employee discount continues, and you know, so anyway, I'm sure this was long, but and some of you may not care why I've been going, but I thought I would do it for those of you who do. In the next week, on February 6th and 7th, is when the state will come in and evaluate my school, so I'm terrified about that, because as an alternative school, they could actually come in and say, you guys are closed as of today. Whereas like a bigger high school, they would basically take over the school and try to improve it. They could actually close an alternative school on the spot. So I'm terrified about that, obviously. I mean, I would hope that if they were going to close us, they would at least wait till the end of the year, because I mean, our girls have nowhere to go. They've got, I think 95% of our population has a parent that's either deceased or incarcerated. Very few of them have the baby's father in the picture. So it's very hard for them. One girl, her father's deceased, her mother's crazy, according to her. I've never met her mother, but she lives with her grandmother, who is riddled with arthritis in her hand, so she can't take care of the baby. So, you know, these girls have nowhere else to go. And, you know, I know that the state could look at it in dollars and cents and say, well, we're paying out this amount for 45 students. But the thing is, you know, me working there every day and seeing what we go through, 45 of our students are like 300 of, I don't want to say normal students, because it's not that our kids aren't normal, but they just have such a shitty home life, and it's just sad that, you know, when we've got girls that got pregnant at 12. It's sad that parents literally will set that up. Like, one girl, her mom literally set it up so she would get pregnant at 12. And yet nothing happens. And that, to me, is horrible. But so anyway, so I'm stressing out about that. Once that's over, as long as that goes well, things should get back to normal. But just dealing with that. So anyway, on a brighter note, since this has been kind of downtrodden, I will be doing my Torrid haul. The weather was kind of bad here, so I didn't get to Vincennes to get that big box from my parents, which apparently weighs like 8,000 pounds. But like I said, there's winter coats, there's jeans, there's boots, there's whatever. But I will try to film the haul with this stuff maybe today or tomorrow. And then I will get my giveaway up, because I keep looking at it. It's all sitting here, but I just, for whatever reason, haven't filmed it. So, alright. Well, it's Sunday. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you all soon. Thanks for watching.